Welcome back into Mining Stock Daily, everybody, as we continue to move through this Wednesday and a lot of corporate updates on the docket today. Now we are heading to Côte d'Ivoire in West Africa. Happy to welcome in Mr. Andrew Chubb of Awalé Resources. Big news with a new strategic investor announced just yesterday, but it's been a while since we've had the company on MSD. So obviously we'll touch base about the new investor, but also a number of other things happening there with their project. So Andrew, good to see you. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, Trevor. It's good to be back here again.
Yeah, it's been a long while, so always enjoy our conversations. Real quick note before we do get started: Awalé does trade on the venture with ARIC and on the OTCQX with AWLRF. Andrew, let's start with that recent development here just this week. Predictive Discovery coming in with a $14 million strategic investment into the company, $14 million Canadian, I might add. That's a premium to your market. Beyond the capital, what message is this sending to your investors and maybe the market about the Odienné project and Awalé's long-term potential?
I think that's, again, it is a testament to the Awalé team, the discoveries that we've made on the project, and the fact that we've got a commanding land holding, and it's been recognised by another producing company. So this really is fantastic news for us, and it positions us incredibly well, and just means that these guys have done their due diligence. They've had a look at what our wares and have decided to make that strategic investment as well. So we're very happy to bring PDI on board. And happy to see that they'll be working with us as well with a technical committee and so forth. So that's great for us. It really is testament to what we're doing in Odienné.
Yeah, Andrew, I think they obviously join a strong cohort of all other strategic investors that have put in place in the company. Not only Newmont, that's been long-standing partner with Awalé for a number of years now. Fortuna, as in I think it was last year, they announced that strategic investment as well, and now Predictive Discovery. So there's three well-known big names within the industry, kind of putting a little bit of stake into your company. So obviously very impressive. So what do they collectively see in Odienné that perhaps the broader market isn't fully appreciated yet? And is there some sort of competitive nature with three strategic investors all having some sort of stake or say in Odienné moving forward?
I think that I think these guys are interested in getting getting an initial interest in Awalé should an opportunity arise, but the discussions we have there, they're I guess partnership discussions and how we can move the project forward and ensure that Awalé is well funded to do what we need to do moving forward. So that's a key part of it, and and how the project gets developed in the future. I truly believe that with that first mineral resource estimate under our belt, that there will be a mine in the Odienné district one day. And whether that's Awalé as the key miner, or we're just sitting alongside somebody else that's got strong. Both those companies have got strong track records in building mines. And Matt Wilcox has built half a dozen mines in West Africa, which a lot of people probably don't know about. And maybe that's something that I could talk, if you wanted to, talk about is the Predictive team is a group of people that are proven mine builders in West Africa. Like I said, Matt's built half a dozen mines or 6 mines in West Africa. So, they've really got experience in that at that side of the game. Like we're a really good we've got an excellent team for, taking things through feasibility, and ready for a, final investment decision. And I think it's also bringing people on board that have got excellent experience in that other part of the exploration to mining cycle.
Yeah. Well, obviously, Cote d'Ivoire has been an incredible epicenter of exploration, discovery, and development, obviously, for the next, few decades of mining and gold production. And Awalé just kind of fitting in there very nicely as being a big part of that potentially down the road here. But these three strategics, and you mentioned Predictive, obviously, well stated, but Newmont, Fortuna also having interest in this area of the world as well. So, kind of keeping that momentum within their own portfolio as well. And Andrew, I did want to ask you, I mean, obviously it's great news on the cover. This is all great news, but does it open up any sort of, um, tension at all when you have three major strategics? Have we closed the books on more strategic investors coming into the company? Is three enough, or would you take on more if the interest was there?
I think we're in a fairly good position as far as that's concerned right now. I don't think at this juncture there's any tension between those groups. They've got um, different, I guess, scale objectives. Well, two of them have got similar scale objectives, and one of them have got much bigger scale objectives. And so, it doesn't really. So I don't see any particular tension between those parties at this stage. And maybe there will be one day in the future, which for Awalé shareholders, maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I was
Um,
just gonna say that sounds like
and
a good
and
problem to
and
have.
so that's okay. But and they're not going into this with their eyes closed either. They know they. I mean,
Mhm.
um, it's not like Predictive weren't aware, with PDI weren't aware of who our shareholders are and so forth. So it's just, uh, yeah. So I don't see any particular tension at this point in time. No.
Yeah.
In short,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
That's not really a problem. And I've I've got good relationships with the Fortuna technical team, and I don't know all the people in the predictive technical team yet, but I certainly know the C-suite team quite well. Um, and we'll continue to build a relationship with them as well. And like you said, Newmont's been long-standing, so yeah, it's not something I see as tension now, and not something that we would find difficult to manage.
All right, very good. Oh, congratulations on this. Let's dive into some of the exploration technicals of Odienné, since it has been a number of months since we've had you on last, Andrew. Uh, your maiden resource did establish 1.7 million ounces of gold equivalent across the three deposits there at Odienné, but drilling since then, at Charger and other targets has continued to intersect more higher grade mineralization outside of the resource. So maybe how much confidence do you have that that maiden resource is literally just a starting point rather than even coming close to really defining the size of the project?
Yeah, that's certainly the truth. We've always seen it as a foundation resource, and there's plenty of room to grow around those three deposits that go in there: BBM Empire and Charger, and Charger Two is an exciting story, and some of the drilling that
Mhm.
we've been doing subsequently is looking like we might be able to connect Charger 2 to Charger 1, which adds a couple of 100 meters of strike um, to that initial resource. Where it looks like it's connecting, it's a bit deeper down, so like from 100 meters below surface, but it is looking like we might be able to actually meaningfully connect the two dots together to something. Charger 2 is actually part of Charger 1. and we'd
Mhm.
sort of not connected the dots on the shallower drilling that we'd done in that zone previously. So that's, there's definitely room there. And I've always, like, whilst we're on Charger, I've always said that the MRE that we did for Charger was drilling restricted rather than system restricted. So
Mhm.
we hadn't completely closed it off, I guess, along strike at each of those levels. And the drilling that we've been doing looks like, like I said, it seems to be connecting towards Charger 2. So there's some expansion potential in that top 400 meters. That resource is only 400 meters depth. And then, we really we've drilled a couple of deep holes and seen the right alteration with weaker grade mineralization, and we just think we're slightly off the gut of the system, if you like. And so we're confident that when we get into some deeper drilling there, that we'll just see Charger keep going down dip plunge.
Mhm.
Um, BBM is like a similar story. So we've got lots of holes pending. So it's a little bit frustrating. We got a lot of things in the lab. This seems to be a cyclical things with labs. Well, it has been my whole career. And so they were traveling incredibly well as we traveled towards the MRE and the pressure that we were putting them on to get those results out. And then, subsequent, we've got multiple holes, like tens of holes, more than tens of holes, like that we just don't have results for yet. But the work that we're doing, that we've done, drilled a few more holes below the MRE pit, if you like, that RP triple E pit. And, we're seeing BBM there, and we're still seeing some really um, the right alteration, like strong alteration that we think will, we've always said that BBM increases in grade with depth in the drilling that we have done. And we're seeing similar, like the rocks look very similar to that. So, we're
Mhm.
expecting those results to be good, and see, start to see real underground potential at BBM as well.
Oh,
And these are
interesting.
really important things, life of mine, and understanding how you end up mining these things. How quickly do you go underground? Um, Charger probably is just an underground deposit to start with, but so there's growth potential there. And then we've got the discovery potential on the 100% ground, and also there's still discovery potential within new discovery potential within what is currently the joint venture ground. So
Mhm.
lots of upside, lots of upside
Yeah.
on our project.
Back to the last Charger 2 hits, that was the headline hole was 7 meters of 18 grams per ton gold, so nice hit in there, and so you walked by potentially thinking Chargers 1 is connected to the Charger 2. But Andrew, it just kinda makes me wanna ask, about your geological model. I mean, when you go through drilling and exploration, obviously geological models continue to evolve, but does this actually change that model in any meaningful way, or is it kind of hitting as you have predicted as well? I mean, can you talk about how this is driving
Yeah,
future
so
drilling?
charges really, I mean, it's always been a tough one, right? And
Yeah.
but we're learning more all the time. But what we do understand is that it's a fluid overpressure story. So there's two different types of breccias that we get there.
Mhm.
But they're basically hanging wall and footwall, and sometimes they might cross over a little bit. And so in those fluid overpressure stories, really, now we see it rough. We're seeing it following along a trend. So Charger 2 is on trend from Charger 1. And so and like early days we thought, oh, maybe pipes, where's the hand? But basically we're in the hand, I guess. And really all those pipes were, if you just think of like flames, like if you draw the fire symbol in an emoji, it's like the
Mhm.
flames coming up, and we're seeing fingers of mineralization coming up higher. And in that higher zone or earlier drilling, those zones just weren't connecting up. And so it seems like as we come down below that sort of 100 to 150 meter zone that we're or below surface, that they're actually connecting up, and we are actually in the hand. So we weren't far off when we thought about pipes, but it's probably more like, where that fluid pressure or those fluids have just managed to pump a bit higher. And you're getting these fingers of mineralization, and when we're lower down, we're seeing it sort of connect up along strike. So that's the evolving story there, really at Charger. BBM, nothing's really changed except we're seeing evidence that the plunge is steepening in the drill core. So, and that's actually a good thing, because we're looking at going underground. The steeper the plunge, the easier it is to underground mine. So,
Okay.
so that's a bonus as well. Anyway,
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last question here, Andrew, before we let you go and on your way. But you're well capitalized now, over $30 million Canadian, expected to be available following this investment from Predictive. So obviously one of the better, strongly financial positions out of any of your peers. How does that change the way you plan exploration over the next 12 to 18 months? Does anything change other than the numbers in the bank account?
I've been incredibly concerned that we're probably moving too slow on the 100% ground.
Hmm.
And so we've been continue to augment the team for the 100% ground. So we will be pushing a lot harder at those 100% Awalé targets with that funding. Because I mean, personally, I would like to see us collect more data more quickly, and because we know how we need to look at the data, right, from the understanding we built over the last couple of years. And so we just need, alongside all the feasibility work that we're doing, to have that team to actually drive that. And look, I'll be honest, we had a gap. We thought that I closed that gap, but now I truly believe that gap is closed, and we'll in the now we're moving into wet season, so it's hard it is difficult to get a lot of exploration done in the
Mm-hmm.
wet season. So it's really starting now through to September into October. But we'll be ready to really, really push incredibly hard from that late Q3 onward. And I mean, I would dearly love to see a discovery on the 100% ground, because that would really be, we went out on a limb in Odienné. We've proven things now, and to actually bring in things on the 100% ground, that would be, truly awesome for the team, because we really did. We are the first people to drill holes in that district, and a lot of people thought, what's Awalé doing out there, back all those years ago, and so to actually keep that train going, that's really exciting stuff, and I'm looking forward to really pushing that hard next year with that equal in Q3 with that augmented team.
Okay, very good. Well, all hands on deck. Q3, Q4 going to be pretty exciting here on the Odienné project, and with under the realm of Awalé Resources, which continues to be one of the best turnaround stories in the last 5 years. Since I've been following this sector, so very impressive. Always appreciate the conversation, Andrew. I look forward to seeing you in person this fall as you come my way to Colorado for the Precious Metals Summit, which I assume you're attending.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully, I'm not
It
speaking
is
out of
one of the
line here.
best conferences on the circuit. Wouldn't
Yeah.
miss it.
All right, very good. Well, safe travels. Stay safe to you and everybody else there on the ground, and we'll be sure to touch base here as the year progresses.
Excellent, Trevor. Thanks very much for giving me the time.
Yeah, you are most welcome. Awalé Resources trades on the Venture with ARIC and on the OTCQX with AWLRF. The information presented should not be considered investment advice. Mining Stock Daily and its affiliates are not responsible for any loss arising from any investment decision in connection with the material presented herein. Please do your own research or speak with a licensed financial representative before making any investment decisions.